Awesome.
See if this thing actually connects. Probably will. It worked last time.
Looks like we're live. Yep, meeting is now streaming live on YouTube.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Very cool. If this thing actually connects. Probably will. It worked last time.
Looks like we're live. Yep, meeting is now streaming live on YouTube.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Awesome. So I've got this playback here. Should probably mute. There we go. You can still hear me, right?
Yep. Hear you perfect.
Yeah, because it's previewing the YouTube stream at the same time I'm talking to. It's like, hello, hello, hello.
Right there with the echo. No, I get it. No problem at all.
Awesome. So here we go.
Sweet.
Hello, hello, and welcome back, finally, after all this time, because I know you've been waiting impatiently, to the Geoff Antonio Show. And today we have a very special guest. Please welcome Evan from TX2. Hello, Evan. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing? Happy to be here.
Hey, I'm happy to be here with you as well, man. It's good to be back in the saddle, especially with a great artist such as yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate it a whole lot.
I appreciate you being on the show. Yeah, you know, I found out about your music probably the last few weeks, and you know, sometimes when a discussion for artists to have on the show, you know, you hear new music and you say, well, you know, it's pretty cool. Yeah. But when I heard your music, immediately I said, you know what? It's great. It's solid, good production, great songs, and also I think it's unique, and it made me pay attention. And anytime I pay attention, it's a good thing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that a whole lot. That's exactly what I've been going for, is creating something new that's still familiar at the same time. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that you know, there's so many good artists out there, but the ones to me that really stick are the ones that really is something familiar about it, but at the same time, there's something that's like, wait a minute, they're doing something different there. You know, they caught me. And
yeah.
That's what I heard in your music. It was like, I heard this really cool hip hop influence, and then I heard this rock thing, and then I heard this really cool guitar solo with tapping. I was like, oh no, he did it, man. It's cool.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it a whole lot. I actually started my career as a drummer, playing with a rock band. And then I ended up becoming a rapper, because rapping's like drumming with words. So it just came naturally. Had a rap career through high school, and then I decided to bring it back to rock and rap. And then that's how I got that sound that's familiar and new, is blending the genres and making the most authentic music I could.
That's awesome. Yeah, that you know. So take me back, man. Let's journey back a little bit. Let's start from kind of the beginnings and get our way to where we are today. I mean, growing up, music-wise, when you were a kid, what was that first connection with music where you heard a particular artist or bands, and you said, man, like I can't get that song out of my head, or I love what they're doing?
Yeah, so the first ever album I listened to was American Idiot by Green Day, which has been my favorite album of all time. And as you can see in my music, it reeks of influence. Now, when I was 5 years old, my mom wanted my brother and I to bond. I have an older brother who's 2 years older than me. So she gave him a guitar and me a drum set. And we ended up, you know, both getting good at our instruments at a very early age. And that allowed us to play in a band together, which is why my brother and I are like best friends. We grew up together. We played in a band, and this band ended up like taking off. We had like a momager in middle school. My brother actually got to open up for Train in the Plain White Tees with as part of this band. I ended up joining a little bit later. But when I came in, we were playing. We played like a stadium show at the Eagles, like the Colorado Eagles. We played as like a halftime show. We just played shows all over Colorado, and that's where I got the performance bug. I could not live without performing, and I can't imagine anything else I'll do in my life. So that's the roots of everything, you know, is starting with the rock band.
That's great. Yeah, Green Day is a great band, and once again, unique, great songs. I don't think I've heard a bad song from them yet, but they're a solid band, and I could see how that hit you, and I could see how that pushed you into it because they're good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's especially at a young age when you're in like middle school, that's where you have that like angsty feeling, so like it resonated with me. Now it's basically what I'm doing for life.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. There's something about it. When an artist does their job right, and you're just living life, and you just hear their music, and it's just stuck in your head. That's when they got you.
Yep.
That's when they got you.
Yeah, that's when they got still my favorite album. Still listen to them all the time.
Yeah, yeah. They're fantastic. From Brain Stew to American Idiot to what up Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Yeah, it's
Killer band, and their new stuff too is kind of a little bit more on the funky side. I know that they were a little bit influenced by Prince, and it sounded pretty cool too.
You listen to their new album?
I haven't heard the album, but I heard the single or one of the singles. I was like, man, that's cool.
Yeah, I was really impressed. You know what? I props to them. Every band has to evolve. I've evolved as an artist. Drummer, rapper, rock rap. Now everyone you can see in the industry is slowly changing their sound because you have to.
You have to, and I also think that there's been no better time to be an individual artist ever before. I feel like a while ago, it almost seemed like you had like, well, you're rap, so you're rap, and you're in that box. No, you're a rock guy. So, and now it's just like, I don't know. It seems more open. I mean, what's your take on that?
I don't even believe in genre anymore. I think that there's the example of Old Town Road, the one that everyone goes to and uses with Lil Nas X combining country and rap, right? And before that, there's been examples, Little Peep, who combined punk and rap in a different way, a completely different way. But yeah, I think that music, in my opinion, the reason a lot of this is happening now is because new genres has come over the years, right? Punk came out in the 70s. Other genres have evolved since then and been created. And right now, I think in the last year, we've come to a kind of a stagnant point where there's not a lot of new sounds coming. So something had to erupt. And I think right now, either you can see with a lot of artists combining multiple genres into one, because I mean, why stay in a box? People are always thinking outside of the box. And I think the next move for everyone in the industry is fuck a genre. Sorry, am I allowed to curse on here at all?
Say what you please, man.
Okay, I just wanted to check. But like genre doesn't matter. Just make music for the heart. I think that's what people are doing.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm glad that we came to this place musically. And I remember playing with Linkin Park back in the day, and that was radical, right? That was, oh my God, hip hop rock, and the whole and that and Limp Bizkit, what have you. And it was like, well, that's crazy, but it's really not that crazy. I mean, you can like multiple styles, you can blend them. And quite frankly, I think the audience wants it. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. Fans of rock can get down with it. Fans of hip hop can get down with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not subject to one genre. So that's great. You keep it fluid like that, and you go with your instincts, because I think the audience feels that and they react to that. So take me back to, so you started playing drums and your brother played guitar. Was there any particular drummer that inspired you that you wanted to play like?
Yeah, actually, I was a big metal fan. So I liked Avenged Sevenfold, and there was the previous drummer of Avenged Sevenfold who died, the Rev. Was a huge. Do you listen to Avenged Sevenfold at all? Is that like?
I'm briefly familiar. They've got a few joints.
Yeah, they're dope. The Rev was a drummer who influenced me and someone that I always really looked up to. And then who I always have respected is Dave Grohl. He started in Nirvana as the drummer, and then he ended up creating his own solo career as well as a singer.
Yeah, who knew? I mean,
seriously, the talented man.
So, yeah, no, I don't think anybody saw that coming. It's just like, he's a great drummer, but what he sings and he plays and he writes.
Right, a talent renaissance man.
That's awesome. So you started jamming with your brother, and tell me about like one of the first shows where you guys had a sizable audience, and what that meant to you, what that felt like.
Yeah, so one of the first shows we played with a sizable audience was at Avogadro's Number. It was a small venue in Fort Collins, and as a drummer, I was making all these faces while I was playing, and I was doing all these fills and things to just look cool. And I remember vividly every time I did something, the eyes were on me, and I think performing is the highest you can get without actually taking a drug, right? Because you are the center of focus of attention from people. You command an audience. And the greatest performers, they command an audience. They don't just perform, they move the audience and they control them, right? So at that point I realized that I have such a control and power over such a large amount of people that it's a high. And I think I've been looking for that high more and more, just like a drug, ever since performing.
Most definitely, and man, I think you illustrated it dead on. It is like a drug without the drug. It's about as close as you can get. Usually what I try to describe to people is it's electric. It's just, you have this pressure, but you've got this kind of, it's like this adrenaline happening at the same time. And
Yeah,
there's no better feeling than performing.
I agree completely. And the feeling too, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, I don't know. I wish more people could have that feeling, and then they would know how addictive it is to just be in music and perform and get out there. But it truly is electric, and it's just something that's it's like this fifth element or something. But it's awesome.
It is addicting. That is the word for it. I'm still addicted, so I've been having withdrawals with, COVID, not being able to perform. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Yeah. So you and your brother, you guys are doing shows, you're doing your thing, and I mean, was there a point in time during those performances where something clicked and you said, you know what, this is me. Music is going to be my journey. I mean, when was that? Tell me about that.
so in middle school, when I was playing with this band, and I was strumming, I knew that I wanted to be in the music industry, but drumming wasn't what my heart, where my heart was. So the moment I started getting into rapping, and that was my freshman year of high school, I started. I mean, I actually played that same year. I performed my first show. It was an empty show. It was a completely empty show. The second show I played actually is an interesting story. I got booed off stage. I was a freshman. I was such a young kid at a crowd of a hip hop fest in a hip hop gig, and everyone was talented. I was so untalented. I was just starting off, and there's an art to rapping that I didn't understand, and I forgot the words that I was performing. People just called me out, but I still knew that that's what I wanted to do, and it became my sole purpose in life to prove everyone wrong and to have a flip around in my life and be able to sell out a venue. And it turns out 4 years later, right before I came down to University of Miami out in Miami, I sold out a venue. We were playing like a full crap pack show, and that was like a full circle for me in my life.
Man, see, I love stories like that. I love stories like that. It's good for the audience, and I like it because I think a lot of times when the audience sees an artist performing or music videos or whatever, they come up with this story in their head, right? And they say, oh well, he's just amazingly talented, and he's always just been this perfect singer, rapper, artist, and they just go for him. You see, I mean, he just got up on that stage one day, rocked the mic, but when you hear the adversity, you got out there, you did the show. It didn't go the way you wanted it to, but you didn't stop. You kept going.
That is the thing. I was never born naturally talented. Like even with the drums, my parents had no musical skill. So it definitely didn't come from them. It just came from practice. Singing. I actually learned how to sing in the last 3 years. Shout out to my voice teacher, Kat Reinhardt. I went from not being able to sing Happy Birthday on pitch to being a singer now. Because through voice lessons and through the art of vocal technique. It's impressive that anyone can sing anyone can do anything. It's just a mind over matter kind of situation.
Man, that's see, that's character building, and it's just so true. And I think if more people knew that, they'd be inspired to reach great heights such as yourself. Because it's not easy, and I mean this goes across the gamut, whether it's music or sports or business, whatever you're going after. It doesn't just come to people and just "Oh, I'm gonna do this," and it's just the ocean is gonna part in the middle. Like, no, man, it's hustle, it's grind, it's hustle's grind, figuring out what didn't work, come back, trying it again. And so when I hear that, man, it lights me up, because it's like, you see, what we have here is someone who refuses to stop, and people like that are unstoppable.
That has been my life motto. Nothing. I'm a firm believer. Nothing can stop me. I don't. Do you know about the law of attraction?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer. That has taken me to incredible heights and lengths in my life where I never thought I would be where I'm at right now, and all because of I believed I could.
Right on, right on. So, so okay, so you do your thing, and you make that comeback. You improve your skill set. At one point, do you leave Colorado and you go to Miami? How did that happen?
Yeah. So I ended up after graduating from high school, I needed to do something with my life. My parents really wanted me to study business, and they wanted me to go down the same route as my brother, be an accountant and all that. They did not. They were not in the favor of me taking the music route. But I ended up auditioning out at the Frost School of Music. It's a really interesting story. I auditioned as a rapper, not knowing really that there's never been a rapper at this school. And I remember vividly one of the teachers here, Carlos. He's worked with like the Beastie Boys, and he mentioned that he's like, I've worked with the Beastie Boys. I've seen what rappers can do. Now, can you freestyle? And so at the moment, I was like, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. And so somehow a dumb move ended up getting me here. I started making fun of him in my freestyle. I was like, I made fun of like the suit he was wearing in my freestyle, and then I was like, oh shoot, I should not have done that. But they ended up laughing and loving it, and I ended up getting a full ride down here. So my parents had no choice but to let me come here, because the school wants me here, and they wanted me and another kid named Andre to start a hip hop program at the school. So now we're like the test subjects of that, but they're looking at maybe having rappers come to the school for music. And so that's what brought me down to Miami. This is the best opportunity I could find.
Man, that's cool.
Thank you.
What changes would you say have you evolved through going from Colorado to Miami? I'm sure it's a totally different environment. Is the music scene completely different?
Yes. Colorado is a big emphasis, or at least where I was from, Fort Collins, there's a huge emphasis on local shows. And respect everyone who's in Fort Collins and who is part of that culture, because there's a culture of live shows and supporting that. Here in Miami, there's a big electronic scene. DJs and clubs are big, but I wish, and my goal is to bring a bigger rock scene to Miami, because there's definitely a rock scene. There's some great bands that have come out of here. But I think that there's not enough live venues for performing. So when it comes to that, it's a very different scene. But for me, coming here has changed my sound completely. While I was in Fort Collins, I was messing with the idea of punk rock and rap, and now I just recorded a full concept album rock opera. That has elements of rap in it. That came through studying music in the school.
Man, that's awesome. That is really cool. So, I mean, at what point did you start to kind of release your own music as a solo artist, and then at what point did TX2 come about?
So TX2 came about freshman year of high school. I immediately went. This is the name I've been using ever since I've been started rapping. As a freshman in high school is when I started the solo career in rapping, and I think the main reason for that was because I loved being in a band, but the reason our band broke up was because it's so hard to get 4 people or 3 people all in the right mindset and agreeing. And at that point, I was like, I would love to work with other people, but I wanted with my vision. And I had such a strong vision of what I wanted to see and do, and now I'm doing it, but I could have only done this with my own head on my shoulders. Luckily, Kyle Norris, he plays guitar for me now, has joined as part of my team. And he plays guitar on all of the records and everything. He's my guitarist, but I still just have wanted to be a lead man, you know?
Most definitely. No, I know the feeling, man. I've, so many bands starting out, and you've got these goals and you've got these dreams. And sometimes, even though the band might be tight and it might be everybody's equally talented, but the drive is not always equal. And
Right.
you got to break off and do your thing. When you decided to do your thing solo, I mean, did you get any resistance? Did you get anybody saying, "Hey, what are you doing? You can't do that"?
Yeah, I actually got a lot of resistance with my music. When I first started creating music, especially in my high school, like rap was very foreign. I was in a, pretty much like an all white school, which it has its problems, major problems, and there's a lack of diversity and a lack of understanding of diversity, which I'm so happy that my favorite part about Miami is the diversity and learning about a different culture and other cultures. But yeah, and no one really liked my music. No one liked me. I mean, not only my first show was I booed off, I had multiple people booing and shouting like slurs at me for the next 2 years of performing. I did because I was hated in my town. People just didn't like the idea of someone rapping and doing what I did. It was just a foreign idea. I had that. I compare. Sometimes I think about my hometown. I love Fort Collins, but like some of the culture of the teens is like Derry and It. Did you ever watch It? That movie?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know how they had like the bullies and like that stereotypical. That was like my hometown. Unfortunately,
Really?
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like just the high school like culture,
Mm, that's a trip, man. That's interesting how they gave you that much resistance and how you kept through it. I mean, what were you saying to yourself at that time with all that negativity? How did you keep yourself going?
I always just thought about all these celebrities that I idolize and the people that I wanted to be. They are normal human beings. Like they didn't start. They weren't born famous, right? I actually there's like child actors, but most people aren't born famous. It's just a work. And after studying them, I was like, what's the difference between me and them? What is the difference between any celebrity and there is no difference, just hard work. So I just kept putting my head in the books, and I really got good. I think the hate that I received was the best thing I've ever had in my life. The fact that people were saying such negative things fueled me that I don't think I ever would have been where I'm at without people telling me that I couldn't, and without people saying all of the awful things they said. I had to prove them wrong. So I'm thankful for them. I'm very thankful. I would not change a thing.
Most definitely. I mean, those are some of the most successful people. Is you tell them they can't do it. Look out!
Right.
Suddenly they will.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's inspiring. That's really cool. So let's get into your creative process. Everybody's got their own process of writing songs or recording or producing or what have you. I mean, what is your process in getting into a song? Do you have an idea in your head ahead of time, or how do you get into that?
Yeah. So I usually have an idea ahead of time. And I kind of like hum something out to myself. And then at that point, so far the writing process I've done is I either start on the drums and I create like a beat, which comes from my drum making. And then I either skip that step or I do that. And then I call up Kyle and I'm like, all right, Kyle, here's what I'm hearing. Help me out. And then I kind of like we go back and forth. And then I'm like, I don't like that. I like this. Let's make it sound like this. We get a guitar part, send that back over, layer some bass over it. We already got the guitar, drums, and bass. And then that is where I start writing melodies. I start humming something out and then I record the voice memos. Go back to, I believe personally in writing in notebooks. So I always have a notebook on hand, and I just write lyrics in a book. And then every album has been a different book. I actually have the last album I did fills this entire book.
Nice. That's
Lyrics. And
cool.
so I just write from the heart,
That's great, man. So you probably don't really have any issues coming up with lyrics. I mean, you've got the book ready to go.
Yeah, I always have the book ready to go. When it comes to lyrics, the last album we did, which should be coming out soon in February, it's Let the Dead Speak, is a concept album. So I ended up writing a story, and each song is, I'm sure you understand what a concept album is. Each song is part of one big story.
Mhm.
Um, but in order to make the lyrics feel authentic, I took from personal experiences, right? I had to connect the character and everything that happens to the character to my own life so that the character and the story is an extension of my life with a different picture over it.
Man, that sounds deep. I mean, it's did you have that written out in the notebook? I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah, I in the notebook I have like multiple like just breaks where I mean I don't know if I could just pull it out right here, but I have just multiple breaks where I started writing about what happens in the story at this point, and then after that I would write like pages about like the lyrics and what's happening from there. Um, and it was usually just like I mean I don't know if you could see this, but just straight lyrics. I just wrote like pages of just words and emotions I was feeling and tried to take the story and the emotion and combine those into something that's authentic but follows a storyline.
Man, dude, you're developed writer, man.
Thank you.
Um,
Appreciate that.
yeah, no, those kinds of things is most artists take a long time to dig into that type of technique. So yeah, man, you've been down that road. Um, that's impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So you're probably never short on lyrics, or no.
No, I've never. Sometimes when my life isn't interesting, I have like a little writer's block for a few days at a time. But otherwise, no. I usually can. I've led a very interesting life, and I've been fortunate enough, and I force myself to live an interesting life so that I always have something to write about.
Most definitely, most that's man, that's really cool. So you got the lyrics in the notebook, you do the beat, you got your boy, he does the guitar, you kind of guide him on how you want him to play, and then you get it till it's about right. Um, at what point do you know the song is complete? Because as you know, as an artist, you can you listen to it and you're like, no, let's go back, change this, and then you hear it again, like, no, 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 take out that vocal, no, that ending, no. At what point do you stop and just say, you know what, this is what it is, and I'm gonna release this?
So, the way we went about the last album, and I guess this is my new writing process, is I use Logic and I produce my own track. I record and do everything myself except for the guitar. And then I have a demo and I take that to a studio and have session musicians come in and perform and make that actually happen. But for me, I know a song's done when I don't hate it. I'm a very self-critical person. And so I usually every song I write, I'm always like, I hate this. And then eventually I'm like, okay. The moment I'm like, okay, I see what I did there. That's where I'm like, all right, this is a demo. Send it to the studio. And so I just think when something feels authentic, when it feels full, there's no space that's unnecessary, but it's not too full where I hear things I don't want to hear. I think there's just a feeling you get that the song is complete. I'm ready.
Most definitely, most definitely. So from there, I mean, how do you usually do your releases? Do you have like a schedule of releases you try to keep up with, or you have an album done and you release a track at a time? How do you get it out to the fans?
I'm just actually realizing for the first time why albums take so long to come from artists. Like the period between. So right now I'm working with a manager and a team, and we're planning out this. I mean, this album that I did has been finished for the last like year or so, and we just released the first single, "When I'm Down," the one I believe you saw with the music video.
Mhm.
And we have another we're releasing next month, but yeah, there's it's all about PR and planning, like when to do these releases. When is the best time for this release? When is the best period between the releases? We decided on a month between these two releases, and then we're gonna release the album in February. So in at the same time, I have another album that's already like I've already are demos that I'm already ready to take to a studio. So I think we're just gonna keep cranking out albums and songs until eventually I'm like 5 albums in and only one of them's released. It just is slowly a progression. It's all for the business.
that man. I'm impressed. So take me through that because you're
Yeah.
prolific here. I mean, you're cranking them out. So I mean, are you writing, recording every day? I mean, what's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, I have a weird feeling that I was born to, and I will die writing music. I have no other purpose in my life. I literally, I spend every week, my roommate can attest to it. I'm either at the computer, taking business calls, making conference calls happening, networking, or writing music. I mean, I really just, I just tell myself I don't want to meet anyone who's outworking me because then if you're going to have to make it in the industry, only 1% of people do it. So the mindset I have to have in order to do that is I need to be the hardest working person I know, and I need to keep introducing myself to people that remind me that I might not be, so that I push myself up there. You know,
Man,
every second I can, I try to write. I don't have much else to do. You know, I'm not really interested in like video games or too much else. I just write music.
dude. Man, that's something. So I mean, what's like the daily typical day? I mean, do you wake up and do something first and then get into the music, or you go right to it? What do you do?
I do actually. I work out to like relieve stress. So I usually start it off with a workout, classes, and then every second of free time, if I'm not eating, I try to just be at my computer. I spend a lot of time listening to new music. I think I want my ears to hear different sounds because I mean, technically, every song you write is like a little bit of everything you've heard. You know, and if I constantly keep introducing myself to more music, it'll allow me to create a more unique sound. So I'm either trying to find new music, or I'm just making something in Logic, and a lot of the times it turns out not to be anything good. But if I write something and I hear it back and I'm like, that's it, and then it continues on through the process.
Fantastic, fantastic. For everybody listening, if you don't know, Logic is one of the main production workstations, what have you. It's the mainstay of Apple and pretty much one of the main softwares for recording. Of course, there's several others that people use, but Logic is definitely up there with Pro Tools and other things as well. I mean, why did you pick? Why do you like Logic above any other production softwares?
I think I just started on GarageBand. You know, that was like when I was young. It was just easy. I mean, we made my friends and I made stupid songs on there, and then Logic is like the more complicated version of that. So it was just like the next step up for me, and it just feels comfortable, you know.
Most definitely, and Logic is powerful. I mean, I mean, feels like that thing could like, you threw it, you could fly into space. It's got so
You
many.
just fly a spaceship with Logic. Yeah.
Telling you, man, if you crack the code, suddenly you feel your desk shake and like ground control to Major Tom. I mean, it's crazy, and but it's crazy good. It's an amazing, powerful software. So did you just learn as you went? Did you have any help learning?
YouTube has been my best friend. I just all there's. I mean, you can learn anything on YouTube. I just sometimes. I guess there's the benefit of a teacher in a classroom, but sometimes I'm like, why even have class? You just have YouTube. You can look up. I've learned everything from tutorials, EQing, mixing, compressing, all of that through YouTube, and yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's, and at this day and age, it's just no excuse. I mean, anything you want to know, you will find it. And there will be a tutorial, and you can just pick it up so quick. I mean, there's really no excuses at this point in time. So you do the tracks, you kind of work it out in Logic, you put it together, and then once you feel comfortable with it, then you bring it over to the studio, add in additional musicians, and then get it mixed over there.
Yes. So we usually bring it in. The school actually has a studio. It's like professional and it's free to use. So opportunity. We record at the studio, the school studio, and then a good friend of mine in my hometown, Chris Biebel. He's mixed for huge projects. He's worked with like really big names. He works at a studio owned by members of the Descendants, if you know
Nice.
the Descendants.
Oh yeah.
But so he mixes the project, and then a mentor of mine, Tyler Lindgren, who masters the recordings, is also part of the process, who's also professional. That man has worked with more names than I could even know, you know? So I'm lucky life's also about networking and who you know. I'm lucky to have such a good support group of friends and people who believe in me as well.
Most definitely. It's absolutely partially. I mean, it is talent. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you have to be good. You have to know what you're doing. But it is about networking too, because if you don't have the connections that you need, you got to get to where you're trying to go. How do you network? I mean, how do you do that?
I was lucky to be a door-to-door salesman in high school, and I learned about cold calling. And literally everyone is a potential customer. Everyone. You know, the people are going to say no. They're going to say no anyways. There's no harm in asking. So I've gone to a few musical conferences, like the Music Biz conference in Nashville. When I went, I had like a couple hundred business cards ready. Every person who moved, if they weren't talking to someone, I'd like approach them. Hi, my name's Evan. I'm a musician. Here's my card. Tell me about you. And every time the school has a forum, they bring in someone from the industry. And then I always figure, well, if they came here, they have to find a way out. So usually, like on their way to their car or leaving the building, I find them and I pitch myself to them after their speech. You know, so it's all about, you know, opportunity. That's actually given me the opportunity to perform for for Slick Rick. I don't know if you know Slick Rick.
Almost. Yeah.
A legend in hip hop.
Right.
One of the greatest moments for me was being able to rap for him. I just decided to talk to his wife while he was at a panel, and I was like, I have unlimited sweat to give whatever it takes. Like, let me know. And she was like, you want to rap for him? It's like, yes. Like, yes. And so I got to rap for him and meet him. And it was all because I took that extra effort to. I mean, nothing is stopping you in this world. I think anyone can do anything, and not anyone. It's all mind power.
It is. It is. And really, what most people find is the biggest resistance or roadblock is themselves.
Right. Absolutely.
Once you get past that, I mean, really, there's not much else in the way once you get past your own mind. And it seems like for you, that's not an issue. But the average person out there, they second guess themselves. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it too. I mean, but I've seen so many artists over the years that they doubted themselves or whatever. And sometimes they were an amazing talent, but they just couldn't see the vision. I mean, have you seen that with other artists?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've seen that with myself too. You know, early on when people were really, it wasn't just an easy road. I've been through so many ups and downs, and I think that's part of any career. I've met a lot of people who've had the same experience. It's just putting your art in something that you created out for the world to have opinions on is scary with the thought of that, because you should always have criticism. People will criticize your work, but just what matters is that, I mean, sometimes I think about, sometimes nothing matters. If you really think about it in life, not like all those little things that you always overthink, what do they mean in the big picture? Just send it. That's been the process that has gotten me by through here.
Yeah, most definitely. It's just, you just got to break through it and just go for it. And you don't know until you try. And if you slip, you'll learn, and right. you pick it up from there. So tell me, a lot of artists in this modern era, you've got two type of vortexes, right? You've got your creative space, your songwriting, your production, the lab, so to speak. Then you've got your audience, which is, it's such a personal thing these days. I mean, long gone are the days of the mysterious rock star, and, no one really knows if he's really real, and, all this stuff. It's like, it's much more about a one-on-one relationship with your fans. I mean, what do you do to stay on top and stay in touch with your fans?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't see fans. I obviously, with where my career is going, it'll be hard to keep this, but I'll find a way. I don't see fans as like fans. Like, it's not a market. This is like my friends and family. And it's people who I haven't even met that are my friends and family that some might consider fans too, because anytime someone sends something to me, I always try to respond. I just need to always remind myself, and I think any artist, whatever your level is that you're a human being, and everyone is a human being. Treat everyone with equal respect, and I think that's the key. Whenever someone comments on my pictures, videos, everything, I always try to respond because, I mean, first of all, they're taking their time to support me. The least I can do is support them back and let them know that I appreciate their support. That's what I do. And the people that don't do that just really rub me the wrong way. You know, no one is more important than anyone else.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. It's all about, the fans. And like you said, they're really your fam, your extended family. And you've got to connect with them and let them know that, you appreciate them reaching out and what have you. So that's great. So you kind of balance both. And what about, I mean, we're in the era of 2020, the year of weird. Um, how has COVID affected you as an artist and your normal artistry of not only doing music but being able to do shows and reaching out? How has that affected you?
I mean, for me, it's putting a huge damper on everything in my life. Because obviously, live shows are in my opinion, my forte. I love performing. That is how I can connect with crowds, make new fans. At the same time, networking. Right? It's harder to approach someone and give them a business card when no one wants to touch you anymore or be around you. So, it's kind of been a shot to the leg, right? But the good news is, a shot to the leg doesn't kill you. At this point, I'm evolving and trying to figure out a way, which I believe we found, with music videos and focusing on social media. That is my way of dealing with COVID. I think that it's been a shot in the leg, but there's always a workaround. So right now I'm just trying, my team and I are trying to find the workaround, stay on social media, release music videos, and just focus on content because that's king right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And the thing about it is, I think the more that you're putting out there during this era of lockdown or whatever you want to call it, um, is you're doing a service to people out there, to your fans, and to anybody that you're reaching out there, because we don't know what they're going through, how they've been affected by COVID, and they might be going through something horrible, something terrible, and you serve as this entertainment that you could help them. You could help them through their day or through their year.
Yeah. Seriously. No, I know. I agree. It's for me, the reason I created music was because when I was at a really low point, I had artists that I could look up to and like role models. And so my goal as a musician is to be someone that people can look up to. Like you said, you can make their day. You can help people out like in these hard times. My goal is to do that. That is the purpose of my career at this point.
Man. So, going back to, you said that you've had a lot of, challenges and ups and downs. And like I said, I love to bring these into the interview because there's just a part of human psychology that says, you know what, TX2, man, he's just on a roll. He's just got it like that. He hasn't been through the rough stuff. Give us another example of something that you felt kind of pulled you back in your career, or some kind of setback, and how you went right round and just kept on moving.
Um, I think the biggest besides I think COVID has been a huge setback, right? And the other, I mean, the two biggest setbacks have been the ones we've touched on. And I think just in high school, there was just a period where literally I would upload a video and I'd have like 60 people telling me to like kill myself in the comment section of the video. And that like, this is the worst thing that they've ever seen. I think I went through such a dark phase with so many people hating me that I haven't had too many like bumps after getting through that. I think right now the biggest difficulty I'm in is where do I go from here? But
Mm.
nothing that I can't manage. I feel like we have a good hold on that. I can't really think of besides that point and besides COVID, any true hardships with the career so far. But I know they're coming. I know they're coming.
You're ready. You're ready for it.
Ready. Yeah, absolutely. It's mind over matter. You can throw anything my way, and I'm ready for it.
That's the mindset to have, is getting into it and knowing that you're gonna have bumps in the road, and just say, Because I don't know, and I don't know about you, but a lot of artists I've known, it's like sometimes they're in a dream state, and that's part of being an artist is that you kind of, you know what I mean? It's like you you got one foot kind of in the clouds,
Yep.
and but it's part of why you're creative, right? Because you're reaching for something that's like it doesn't exist. It's going through you, it's coming out of you, and it's just like so you're partially up there in the cloud, but sometimes I think because music artists are a little bit dreamlike, they don't take the punches too good. Seems
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. I would agree with you. I've seen a lot of musicians who it's easy to take things personally. It's very easy to take things personally, but you just can't. You really life has ups and downs, and music's like any other business. Most businesses fail. Most musicians unfortunately fail, but all that matters is you get back up.
Most definitely, most definitely. So take me through when I'm down. What was the
Yeah.
inspiration behind that? How'd you come up with that?
Awesome. I've been waiting for someone to ask about this. So When I'm Down is it's the fifth song in the album. And so the story of this album, I'll let you know a little bit about the album, is that basically the protagonist is a troubled high schooler who goes to a party, and at this party, he an accident happens, and the high schooler ends up dying and comes back to life, and he comes and his whole goal is to get revenge on what he did. So the song "When I'm Down" is about after the protagonist has killed the people that did him wrong. He's talking to their bodies in the car, and so the verses are his exact words on exactly what he's saying to the bodies, and he's going through the regret of I killed someone, I took life off this earth, and he starts wondering about like how their families will be affected, and then the second verse is about like this like coming to peace with everything that he's done, and that he's trying to justify his actions. So the chorus of "When I'm Down" is "You kick me when I'm down, I've lost my bearings." Basically, he had been hurt in such a way that he felt lost, and this is his way of getting revenge. So that is the lyrics of "When I'm Down." For me, that connected to my life because there's been a point in my life where I have been, I've been bullied. Not that I ever did anything like the character in this, but it's kind of like things that I had felt but never said. That is a lot of "When I'm Down" in the verses. Is my feelings towards things that have happened towards me in the past.
Man, it's really cool. It's almost like you see a movie, you have a movie in your head, and the song is about the movie, right?
Exactly what it was. Yes, and if you watch the music video, in the music video, we outline like the story of this album. Kind of the protagonist comes back from the dead. There's the scenes of me driving, or the character David in this album, driving with the bodies, talking to them, and so it was so cool to see like my vision come to a visual, come to life.
Man, that's really cool. Tell me about Evil Within.
Evil Within. Okay, so that's a song I wrote my freshman year of college. So that was 2 years ago now. And I wrote it at 3 a.m. It was 3 a.m. I had woken up at like 2:45. And I was like, I cannot sleep right now. I need to do something. So I just went on YouTube, started finding songs, and I was listening to all of these rappers who were just flexing their lyrical ability. And I was like, okay, now it's my turn. And so that entire morning, I wrote Evil, like morning, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. I wrote Evil Within. And I was like, in my roommate, because we had a dorm at that time. He was like on the other, Kyle, my guitarist. He was my roommate freshman year. Yeah, what are the odds? He was asleep, but I had just wanted to push myself to the lyrical max, use as many word plays as I can, rap as fast as I can, change the flow as many times as I can, and create a catchy hook. So that's exactly what we did with Evil Within. And to me, that was like, I felt like this like evil presence at like 3 a.m. that like it's kind of like guided me through the writing. But yeah, it's kind of out there, but it ended up working, and I don't, to this day, now that especially that I've taken this rock direction, it's gonna be really hard for me to ever top my rapping on that song. I have not written a song to this point that is flexed as much as that. Now I focused on the songwriting, but that was to me just my peak of lyrical skill in a way, you know?
Oh, dude, definitely, dude. When I heard that, I was like, whoa, like he's really going at it on that one, man. Because it was just like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, it was like, whoa, man, he's on it. He's on it,
Thank
dude.
you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So tell us, what do you have coming out that we can look forward to?
Yes, so we have another single next month and a music video, end of October. The second song off this album that is actually the follow-up in the story. It's the sixth song. Well, it's the sixth song on the album, but the second song we released. It's the follow-up to When I'm Down. And in my opinion, this is one of my favorite songs off the album. It's the most dynamic and the most catchy. We have another music video, that single, and then we have the album coming out in February, which I'm so excited for. So, I mean, we also have a merch store opening soon. I'm excited to get some merch out to the public. There's a lot coming. I'm excited for the rollout of all this.
Man, it's exciting, man, and it's inspiring to see your energy, man. When you see an artist lit up, man, it's just like, dude, it gets you moving, because that's what it's about. I think it's energy, inspiring energy. That's really kind of what music is. So tell us where we can find you online and all your socials.
Sure. Okay. So if you look up TX2, the letter TX2, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram. On Instagram, it's TX2 official. But on all those platforms, you can find my music. If you want to check out the new music video that I was describing, it's When I'm Down. That's on YouTube, and everything is just under TX2.
Right on, right on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is TX2, and we've been talking with Mr. Evan, and it's been an honor and a privilege to talk with you, sir. Like I said, great music. You definitely want to check him out. It's something different, and it's something original. And anytime that you've got that combination, and there's some good songwriting, great vocal performance, yeah, check this dude out, man. He's on his way, and I believe in his stuff. And I want to say thank you so much for being on the Geoff Antonio Show. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I'm inspired by you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.